I stand by myself in the bridal suite at Silverleaf Estate. The soft light of Sonoma Valley pouring through tall windows and spilling across the mirror. The woman reflected there looks almost unfamiliar. My gown clings perfectly. Every seam and crystal lying in quiet obedience. The satin shimmering like calm water. The makeup artist had surpassed all expectations. My eyes appear larger, my cheekbones sculpted, my lips painted in the precise shade of rose that makes me look almost brave. A bouquet of white roses rests beside the vanity mirror, waiting patiently for the day to begin. I glance at my phone for the 14th time in 20 minutes. Still nothing. No message from Mom. No good luck from Dad. Not even a brief text from Diego, my older brother. The silence presses against the walls until a soft knock interrupts it. Martha, the wedding planner, slips her head through the door. Her professional smile can't quite hide her unease. "It's time, Ava," she says. "Are you ready?" My gaze drifts toward the arched window overlooking the ceremony garden. 90 guests sit in neat rows of white chairs. The string quartet's melody floats through the air like something out of another life. In the front row, 3 empty seats glare back at me like open wounds. They're not coming. Are they? The question escapes before I can disguise the tremor in my voice. Martha hesitates, her smile faltering. "There's still time." She lies kindly. I nod, smoothing the silk of my gown with unsteady hands. "Let's go." The doors open to a garden washed in golden light. 90 faces turn toward me. A collective gaze that feels heavier than my train. Each step echoes like a confession. I sense their sympathy before I see it tiny gestures. Tilted heads. The pitying looks that sting worse than cruelty. Some whisper behind cupped hands. Others smile with forced warmth that only deepens the hollow in my chest. At the altar, Luca Romano, my groom, stands calm and certain, his eyes fixed on mine as if anchoring me in place. The quiet devotion radiating from him almost erases the echo of Mom's voice from 3 days earlier. "We'll try, sweetheart," she had said on the phone. But Diego's firm has that client gala on the same weekend. She had sounded polite, detached, like declining a lunch invitation instead of her daughter's wedding. "I can pay for the flights." I'd offered, my voice fraying. "The hotel. Anything, please." "Mom." Through the receiver came Dad's muffled tone. "Tell her we're busy." Now, as I move down the aisle, I force myself to breathe. In, out, step, step. I will not cry. I will not let absence ruin this moment. When I finally reach Luca, his warm hands close around mine. "I'm here," he whispers. "That's enough." For a heartbeat, the world blurs, and I'm 8 years old again, standing barefoot in the living room while Mom and Dad position Diego's debate trophy on the mantel. They step back, admiring it from different angles, snapping photos to send to relatives. My own art certificate, won that same week, sits forgotten in a drawer by the kitchen. I can still remember how proud I'd been. Showing Mom my drawing of a sunset, the teacher said, "I have real talent." I told her. She barely looked up. "That's nice, honey," she murmured before returning to the pot of soup on the stove. Later, Dad had tousled my hair absently. "Your brother needs our support. He's destined for great things," he said when I asked why they always went to Diego's events, but not mine. "You understand, don't you?" Ava and Mom, never missing her mark, had added, "Why can't you be more like your brother? He focuses on what matters." After that, I tried harder academic medals, scholarships, business achievements. Every milestone became an audition for their affection, each one greeted with distracted acknowledgement or none at all. The ceremony flows around me like a river I've learned to float upon. My vows come steady. Anchored by the promise, I make aloud. I choose a future built on truly seeing one another. No one else knows how much weight those words carry, but Luca does. He squeezes my hands gently, eyes gleaming with quiet understanding. When the officiant pronounces us husband and wife, applause swells like a tide. Luca's mother embraces me tightly. "You're one of us now," she whispers, and something locked deep in my chest loosens by a fraction. The photographer catches Luca spinning me beneath the lights, my dress catching gold glimmers as his cousins cheer and clap. For fleeting stretches, I forget the empty chairs. I forget the unanswered messages. For a few moments, joy feels uncomplicated. During the reception, Sarah, my college roommate, lifts her glass to finding the family who truly deserves you. She declares, her eyes fierce and loyal. A soft murmur of agreement follows. The truth of her words lands like a blow. I feel it in my ribs, in my breath. All these years, I've been invisible to the people who should have known me best. I spent my life chasing approval they never intended to give. Later, when the laughter quiets, I slip away to the side terrace. My phone screen glows blank, no missed calls. No text. Not even a perfunctory congratulations. Luca finds me there, his arm looping around my waist. "They missed something beautiful today," he says softly. I lean into him, looking at the man who never made me fight for attention. His family had welcomed me like a missing piece. No hesitation, no conditions. Their choice. I say finally, exhaling, not my burden. And for the first time, I almost believe it. 2 years later, I sit in my office at Solstice Motion Studio in Austin, leaning back in my ergonomic chair as the monitor glows. Acquisition finalized $21 million. 5 years of building from nothing. 2 years of relentless negotiation. Now, the validation gleams in black and white. The door bursts open, my team floods in. Laughter and champagne fizzing through the air. Tuava Serrano, Gen Park. My creative director. Raise her glass. The woman who created something brilliant, while certain people weren't even watching. We toast. The clinking of 12 glasses echoing off the walls. These are my people, the ones who show up. My phone buzzes. A notification from Diego's Instagram. Against reason. I open it. The post reads Mother's Day brunch at the Serranos' 3 generations together. There they are, mom glowing, dad laughing, Diego and Camila flanking them with their twins, smiling beneath pink carnations. The caption gushes. Family traditions never fade. A familiar que flores. The irony slices clean. I received no call that morning. Not even a text. They have ignored me every Mother's Day since I became a mother myself. But 3 days ago, when I posted a single picture of my new Porsche Taycan metallic gray, worth $135,000, gleaming under Austin sunlight suddenly, my existence mattered again. At first, silence. Then, on Wednesday afternoon, my phone lights up with a name I haven't seen in years. Mom calling. My stomach knots as I answer. "Hello, Ava," she begins. Using that blend of command and concern, she saves for emergencies. "We need to talk. Family meeting tomorrow." Family meeting, I repeat, unable to hide the disbelief. "It's important." Behind her voice, I hear Dad's unmistakable murmur. "Tell her it's urgent," he says, as though I'm deaf. I almost laugh. After 5 years of silence, "You're calling about a family meeting. There are financial complications." Mom says tightly, "We need to discuss them as a family." Of course. They saw the car. They heard about the acquisition. Suddenly, I'm family again. Tomorrow at 2. I reply. And end the call. The next morning, sunlight gleams off the hood of the Porsche as I slide into the driver's seat. The leather feels cool beneath my palms. The drive to Westlake Hills takes 40 minutes, long enough to remember birthdays they celebrated without me. Holidays I spent alone while their perfect family smiled in photos. I park in their circular driveway. The sleek metallic gray of my car, a sharp contrast to the colonial facade. For a long moment, I just sit, gripping the wheel. The last time I stood on this porch, 6 years ago, was to announce my engagement to Luca. Mom had nodded politely. Dad had checked his watch. They couldn't wait for me to leave. Now they need me. My phone buzzes. A message from Luca. Remember who you are. Call me if you need extraction. A smile flickers. Another notification follows an email from Naomi Valdez. The first investor who believed in me when no one else did. Your worth isn't defined by those who fail to see it. A final alert from my assistant reminds me, don't stay too long. You've got the production review at 4. I take a deep breath. Patricia, my therapist, once said, boundaries aren't punishment, they're protection. I repeat it silently. Straighten my posture. And step out of the car. Before I can knock, the front door opens. Mom and Dad stand framed in the doorway. Expressions shifting from annoyance to shock as their eyes fall on the Porsche behind me. You've done well for yourself. Dad says, first not hello. Not I've missed you. Just appraisal. Yes. I answer simply. They lead me to the dining room, where Diego and Camila already sit. Their faces carry that rehearsed blend of concern and entitlement I remember too well. Let's get straight to business, Dad says, pulling a folder from the table. I remain standing, my purse still on my arm, the only outward sign of the turmoil beneath my calm. No, I say quietly. First, I'd like to know why I'm suddenly worth inviting after being excluded from every other family matter for years. Mom and Dad exchange uneasy glances. We can discuss that later. Mom says, her tone sliding into practice dismissal, we have more pressing issues. I'm not in a rush, I reply, still standing. And I'm not interested in being convenient family only when it suits you. For the first time, I see something flicker in Dad's expression, uncertainty. The realization steadies me. They need me now. And for once, I decide what happens next. The room feels smaller than I remember. Dad sits at the head like a corporate chairman. Mom perches beside him. Posture immaculate. Eyes tight with worry. Across from me, Diego slumps in his designer shirt. Cuffs creased. Camila keeps her manicured hands folded over a photo album. It's foreclosure. Ava, Dad begins. Voice steady but trembling at the edges. Diego's mortgage is 3 months overdue. The twins' tuition unpaid this semester. I say nothing, letting the silence stretch. 5 years without a word. And this is what brings them to me. You need to help your brother. Dad continues, sliding a document across the polished oak table. Loan paperwork, already filled out. The presumption steals my breath. Think of your niece and nephew. Mom adds, voice quivering with that familiar manipulativeness. They're just children. They shouldn't suffer because of financial strain. Diego leans forward, irritation sharpening his tone. We're family. Ava, that's what family does. When one of us succeeds, we help the others. Camila opens the album and pushes it toward me. They ask about Aunt Ava all the time, she says. Photos stare back children. I hardly know. Beaming at birthday parties I was never invited to. Dad clears his throat. We've done all we can. Our retirement fund is limited. He exchanges a quick glance with Mom. We've been supporting them as best we can. The implication hangs heavy. My success means I owe them. My independence is selfish. I close the album and slide it back. My voice comes calm. Where were you at my wedding? Diego blinks. What, my wedding? 2 years ago. Where were you? Mom touches her throat. We were busy. Diego's firm had that event. It wasn't convenient. Dad adds, as though excusing a missed dinner. I nod slowly. A strange calm settling in. And yet, here you are because you saw the Porsche on Instagram. You called because you saw the car. Diego's face reddens. That's not fair. Isn't it? I lean forward. The steel of self-respect straightening my spine. I built everything alone. Every scholarship. Every client. Every late night. Where were you then? Dad narrows his eyes. What does that have to do with this situation? Everything. I mirror his pose. Hands folded neatly on the table. I'm listening. Tell me why I should write a check. Diego slams his palm down. You always had to prove something. Always showing off how smart, how special. Some of us were trying to live normal lives. Dad rests a hand on his shoulder. Your brother had more potential. We had to nurture that. You were always so independent. Mom's voice trembles. We're still your parents. Despite everything, you were parents in name only. I say quietly. You missed mi graduación. My scholarship ceremony. My company launch. My wedding. I tap the table with each word. You missed me life. And now, I add, you want to share in what that life built. Ava. Dad starts. You didn't build this. I cut in. And you don't get to share it. My phone vibrates. A message from Luca flashes. You. Okay, the sight steadies me. Naomi's words echo in my head. You don't need approval from anyone who can't see your light. I think of my team, their faces lit by champagne when we signed the deal. People who saw me. Who believed. Inside my briefcase lies the signed foundation contract proof of what I choose to build. Dad slides the loan papers closer. We're asking for what's reasonable. Family helps family. The interest is fair. Mom adds quickly, as if generosity could soften entitlement. Diego smirks. Blood is thicker than water. Ava. Iris slowly. Their eyes track my every movement. I set my briefcase on the table, unlatching it with care. I've made another decision. Their anticipation tightens the air. Instead of a checkbook, I pull out a single document. This, I say, is the announcement for the Valdez Media Scholarship Foundation, $16 million dedicated to giving young women opportunities in digital media arts. I smooth the paper gently. The press release goes out tomorrow. 16 million, Diego repeats, choking on the number. It's named after Miss Valdez, my high school art teacher, the only one who showed up when my family was too busy. I look around the table. Their silence loud as stone. The funds are legally protected in a trust. The board approved it last week. The quiet becomes absolute. I'm helping the girls who never received the applause. I didn't get. I say, collecting my things. That's what family means to me. Diego's face twists. His voice breaking. You're wasting it on strangers. On girls society calls nobodies. Girls who, in truth, deserve far better than what I ever received. I snap the briefcase shut. The sound slicing the silence. Girls who need someone willing to invest in them not for profit, but for belief. My parents remain speechless. Their eyes glued to the document that represents millions they will never touch. I lift my phone, turning the screen toward them. A recording app blinks red. The timer rolling forward. I've also documented every manipulative thing that's happened today. I say evenly. Every threat. Every demand. every guilt-ridden phrase, just in case anyone grows imaginative with legal claims against the foundation. Their mouths part, but no words form. I move toward the door, heels clicking sharply against the hard wood. Behind me, Diego's chair screeches backward. "You can't just leave," he shouts, his voice cracking. "We need that money." I pause with my hand resting on the doorknob, but do not look back. "No, Diego. What you needed was to show up at my graduation, at my company launch, at my wedding." I twist the handle gently. That opportunity has expired. The door closes behind me with a soft, final click that sounds exactly like freedom. Outside, the Porsche's low hum feels like a heartbeat syncing with mine. As I drive away from the house that once defined my childhood, my knuckles slowly relax on the steering wheel. Each passing streetlight feels like a mile gained from an old version of myself. I hit the call button on the dashboard. It's done. I tell Luca when he answers. "They showed their true colors," he asks, his voice wrapped in concern. "Exactly what we expected." I reply, exhaling. "Diego lost control when I showed him the foundation papers. Dad tried to patch things up. Mom kept circling back to family obligation. The script never changes." "Are you okay?" he asks. I glance in the rearview mirror, surprised to find a calm, steady woman staring back at me. "Better than okay," I answer softly. For the first time, I saw them as they are, without wanting to see anything else. "I'm proud of you," Luca says quietly. "Don't forget. The foundation board meets at 9 tomorrow morning. Everything's set for the press announcement." The timing had been deliberate. Finalize the foundation legally before confronting my family. Schedule the public announcement before they could regroup. No pleading. No emocional leverage. Only structure they couldn't penetrate. The Valdez Media Scholarship Foundation would be my legacy, not a footnote in family drama. "I'll be ready," I tell him, then end the call. That night, the first message comes before midnight. Within minutes, my phone buzzes non-stop emergency texts, calls, group messages dripping with guilt. I turn the phone face down on my nightstand and let the quiet fill the room. Luca's breathing beside me is steady, grounding. By morning, 6 voicemails, "Wait for me." My mother's tone evolves from tearful pleas for unity to sharp accusations of betrayal, ending with warnings about how the community will judge a daughter who abandons her family in their time of need. "You've faced worse," I remind myself while brushing on mascara. The routine steadies my pulse. My navy suit, the same one I wore when signing the Solstice acquisition, hangs ready on the closet door. Luca hands me coffee in my favorite mug. "Diego's been calling your business contacts," he says. "And your dad tried reaching my uncle?" "Predictable," I answer, taking a sip. The coffee is bitter but bracing. They are moving fast, but not cleverly. The board meeting runs like clockwork. 12 women executives, creators, investors, each personally vetted, each committed to opening paths for young female artists. The press release is approved unanimously. Launch logistics finalized. The first recipient will be chosen in 6 months. I'm reviewing event proposals when Janine from reception calls. "Ems, Serrano, your family is here." They're causing a scene. Through the glass walls, I see security already approaching the lobby. "Please have them escorted out calmly." Professionally, I say, stacking papers that don't need straightening. From my office window, I watch my mother's arms flail as she shouts. "My daughter is abandoning her family," she cries, pearls swinging wildly. Diego stands beside her, face flushed, arms crossed like an indignant child denied dessert. My team watches for my reaction. I rise, smooth my skirt, and open my office door. It's being handled. I say evenly. Let's keep working. Security ushers them toward the elevators. Diego's voice carries back. This isn't over. Family obligations don't just disappear that evening. I send a single email to all three of them. I have documented your harassment at my workplace. Any future attempts to contact me at the office will result in a formal complaint. All communication regarding family matters must go through my attorney. Contact information attached. Ava. Direct and clear. Says Patricia, my therapist. 2 days later, we sit in her sunlit office. The faint aroma of jasmine tea between us. How did it feel to send that, she asks. Necessary. I reply. Tracing the embroidery on the chair's arm. Not satisfying, just necessary. Exactly. She says, boundaries rarely feel satisfying. They feel like clarity. They're just showing who they've always been. Right, I ask. People don't change under pressure. Patricia replies. They reveal what was already there. The truth lands softly but powerfully. I had wanted their love. They had wanted my resources. Those two things had never been the same currency. All those years, every award, every achievement, every offer of help had been me trying to earn something that should have been given freely. It was never my responsibility to make them love me. That was theirs. And now Patricia asks, now I know I'm not responsible for fixing them. I say, there's freedom in that. The next morning brings news. Diego has contacted a local journalist about a family dispute. The reporter, sharper than he expected, asks why none of them attended my wedding. The resulting article paints a portrait. My brother didn't foresee parents absent from milestones. Suddenly interested when money appeared. Mom's social media outburst only fans the flames, unleashing a wave of public sympathy for me. Former classmates, business colleagues, even distant relatives send supportive messages. We always wondered why they never talked about your success. Writes a cousin I barely know. Dad's calls to my investors go nowhere. They refuse to discuss personal matters. The community, meanwhile, rallies around the foundation. Applications pour in months before the official launch. The Austin Business Journal requests an interview. I agree. Setting one boundary, the conversation will focus solely on purpose and impact, not family. Reporter Delia Warren arrives at the temporary foundation office. Flipping through the prospectus, this is an ambitious initiative, she says. $16 million in seed funding. What inspired such generosity? I take a moment before answering. I had a teacher who saw potential when others didn't. Miss Valdez changed my life just by paying attention. I want to do the same for girls who might otherwise be invisible. Delia smiles. You've built an impressive career. Solstice Motion's acquisition was one of last year's biggest stories. Is your family proud? The question hovers between us like a test. I could deflect, redirect. Instead, I meet her eyes. My success was built without family support. I say simply, they weren't there for my graduation, my wedding, or when I sold my company, Hairpin Steels. That certainly gives perspective to your mission. A week later, the article appears under the headline, Self-Made Leader Turns Success into Support. The contrast between my independence and their entitlement becomes the public narrative. When news of Diego's mortgage default breaks, the community connects the dots without my saying a word. Luca quietly increases security around our home. My business team filters messages and keeps the foundation's launch on track. Naomi Valdez releases a public statement, praising my commitment to empowerment over enablement. My college friends form a protective circle, filling evenings with laughter and dinner plans. Patricia helps me stay centered. Together, they become something I had longed for all my life, a chosen family. 2 weeks after that, I stand at the podium of the Women in Media Alliance, accepting their Business Leadership Award. The applause is genuine. The smile's real, looking out at people who celebrate rather than compete. I realize how far the tables have turned. My parents' retirement plans are indefinitely on hold. Camila's precious social standing in her elite club circles has evaporated with their finances. Diego's twins are enrolling in public school next term. Meanwhile, the foundation thrives, garnering coverage that spreads far beyond Texas. The story resonates not because I sought revenge, but because I turned pain into purpose. 3 finalists have been chosen for the first scholarship. Janine tells me, placing folders on my desk. We'd like your input before Friday. I open the first file and see the face of a girl whose teacher noticed her talent when no one else did. The cycle completes itself. Healed by action instead of longing. Family, I realize, is defined by what it does, not by what it claims to be. For the first time, I feel seen without having to prove anything. In the following weeks, I delete yet another voicemail from Aunt Meredith halfway through her predictable plea. Everyone misses you. Ava. A Thanksgiving invitation sits unread in my inbox. Its subject line, family must be together, as transparent as glass. A text from my cousin Drew pings, I don't understand this rift between you and Uncle Miguel. Can't you just talk? Of course, he doesn't understand. He wasn't at my near-empty wedding. He didn't live through 20 years of being invisible. A letter arrives from Mom. Written in her elegant cursive. We always believed in you, she claims. Rewriting history in blue ink. The envelope now sits half-burned in my fireplace. Its edges curled like the lies it carried. Last week, Dad called my office. We need to clear the air, he said, tone devoid of acknowledgement. Following protocol. My assistant informed him that I was unavailable permanently. The final insult comes when Diego sends the twins to my office with handmade cards reading, "We miss Aunt Ava," in handwriting I know isn't theirs. The manipulation is so transparent, it makes my stomach tighten. They're using every emotional lever they can find. Luca says that evening, turning the cards over in his hands. They're desperate. I flip through the pile of attempts calls. Letters. False apologies. Not one of them says I'm sorry. Then the family attorney calls. His voice coolly professional. There are moral obligations to consider. He says, family carries responsibilities. The implication is unmistakable in their story. I am the villain, the ungrateful daughter who turned her back on those who raised her. Even the old pastor from the church I stopped attending leaves a voicemail. Your parents are heartbroken. Ava. Maybe we could meet to talk about reconciliation. 2 childhood friends. Long silent. Resurface. Your parents seem devastated. Says one. The holidays are for forgiveness. Says another. When Camila emails Halloween photos of the twins captioned, they ask about you all the time. I nearly throw my phone across the room. They're framing this as my fault. I tell Patricia at our next session, my responsibility to forgive, my failure to be the bigger person. How does that make you feel, she asks, meeting my gaze. Angry, I admit, but also validated. They wouldn't fight this hard if they weren't terrified of losing control. The next foundation meeting offers an unexpected emotional test. The committee recommends a scholarship for 17-year-old filmmaker Maya Harrison, whose submission radiates talent and painful familiarity. She reminds me of me. I tell Luca that night, quiet, determined, overlooked. We watch Maya's video together. Her eyes hold the same mixture of hope and exhaustion I once saw in my own reflection. She speaks of finding her voice through art when her family refused to hear her. What if I'm wrong, I whisper. What if cutting them off completely makes me hypocritical, if I'm teaching these girls to be strong? Shouldn't I model forgiveness too? Does setting boundaries mean you're running away? Luca asks gently. I think for a long moment. No, Boundaries aren't abandonment. He leaned closer. Then what would you tell Maya if her family treated her the way yours treated you? The answer comes easily. I'd tell her she deserves people who see her worth. The Thursday before Thanksgiving. We host dinner at our home. The table stretches to its full length, Luca beside me, Naomi across from us, my team and a few close friends filling the rest. Maya sits near the end, her framed scholarship certificate gleaming softly behind her on the sideboard. The room glows with the warmth my parents' house never had. Candles flicker, laughter spills across the walls. Here, no one has to prove their value to be valued. I lift my glass. To those who see us as we are. The toast echoes around the table. My phone stays off. Silence. At last. Feels peaceful. Over dessert. I announce the Foundation's mentorship program. I'll personally guide each recipient. I explain. We're not just giving money, we're building connection. Maya's eyes widen. You'll mentor us yourself, every step. Y promise. This isn't just funding, it's family. Naomi smiles approvingly. You've created something they can't tamper with. The Foundation's independence is legally secured. I say, our success will be measured by impact, not permission. Later, as we clear the table, Luca switches on the evening news. Right on cue. A feature about the Foundation airs timed perfectly to coincide with my parents' usual dinner hour. On screen. I speak with calm conviction. We build family through what we do, not through obligation. The segment shifts to a financial analysis, contrasting our transparency with known mismanagement cases, one of which bears striking resemblance to Diego's failed firm. Maya watches, astonished. They're comparing your brother's company to the Foundation facts, make their own arguments. I reply, stacking dishes. The community has validated what my family refused to see. The next morning, my parents request a meeting at a downtown cafe. I arrive in the Porsche, the same car that rekindled their interest after years of silence. Dad looks older. Exhaustion carved into his features. We should have been there. A says quietly, staring at untouched coffee. At the wedding, I ask, though I know he means more. At everything, he says, voice breaking. Mom's eyes shimmer with tears. How do we fix this, she asks. 3 months ago. I might have clung to that question. Now I feel only calm. Some things aren't fixed. I say, they're accepted. Mom flinches. I'm not closing the door. I add, but I need accountability. Not convenience. I'll consider limited contact after you both start therapy. That's unnecessary. Dad protests automatically. It's non-negotiable. I say, sipping my tea. The warmth settles like certainty. They exchange glances, bewildered by consequence. The illusion of Diego's superiority is gone. Their safety net's dissolved. My success exists beyond their reach. The Foundation stands untouched by their approval. We part without agreement, without promises. I watch them walk to a modest sedan, the luxury cars long sold. I drive away without looking back. Every heartbeat replacing duty with freedom. The Foundation awaits. Maya's latest project needs review. My chosen family expects me for dinner. For the first time, I'm moving towards something rather than away from someone, and that difference changes everything. Now, a year later, I stand in the bright studio of the Valdez Foundation, watching Maya adjust her camera lens. Morning light filters through tall windows, painting golden stripes across the wooden floor. What do you think about this angle? She asks. Eyes glowing with the same creative fire Miss Valdez once saw in me. Move it slightly to the left. I tell her. Catch the way the light grazes the subject. My voice no longer trembles with longing, It carries the confidence of a mentor, not the desperation of a daughter seeking approval. On the wall behind her hang photos of our scholarship recipients, their projects, their triumphs, their newfound voices. Each frame holds a story that might have remained untold, the way mine almost did. The office I use here replaced the bedroom where I once dreamed of being seen. And for the first time, I no longer have to dream it. I live it. Every element in my office, from the ergonomic chair to the framed awards displayed unapologetically on the floating shelves, was chosen with intention. Nothing here was inherited. Nothing carried the weight of guilt or the stain of obligation. Each piece represents a decision I made for myself. I've finished the final cut of my documentary. My SS. Straightening her posture, her excitement barely contained. Would you watch it with me? We walked together into the editing bay, where the dim glow of the high-definition monitor fills the room. Her project flickers to life the story of 3 generations of women from a rural Oregon family, through Maya's lens. Their lives unfold, grit and tenderness intertwined, their laughter framed by years of perseverance. The cinematography is breathtaking. But what moves me most is the humanity. She captures the dignity in every gesture, the quiet defiance in every glance. Watching her work, I feel a surge of pride unlike any I've known before. It isn't the hollow, performative pride I once tried to earn from my parents. This is pure, untainted by competition or expectation. It's not about me at all. It's about her creation, about what she's giving to the world, about the cycle of belief continuing through her. When the credits fade, Maya turns to me, tears glimmering at the corners of her eyes. "You're the reason I believe I can do this," she says, voice trembling, before I can respond. She pulls me into a spontaneous hug. I feel her heartbeat against mine, and my throat tightens not from sadness, but from the magnitude of the moment. For a fleeting instant, I think of Miss Valdez, my own mentor. She had seen something in me that my parents never did. Her quiet conviction in my potential had sustained me through years of indifference, years when validation felt like a foreign language. Now, decades later, I stand where she once stood, offering to others the same unwavering faith that once saved me. The circle continues, not in neglect, but in genuine care. Later that week, I stand beneath the amber lights of the Portland Arts Center, accepting a Community Leadership Award. The applause swells, warm and unforced. A sea of faces looks toward me, faces filled not with pity or curiosity, but respect. In the front row, Luca beams with open, unguarded pride. His smile is the steady reminder that I am no longer alone in any of this. There are no empty seats haunting me tonight. No ghosts of family members who couldn't make it. Every person here chose to be part of this moment. Every eye that meets mine sees me not for what I've lost, but for what I've built. Thank you. I begin, my voice steady and clear. This journey began in invisibility and has led to impact. For years, I measured my worth by the approval I could never earn from those who refused to give it. I pause, letting my gaze drift across the audience. Now, I measure it by what we create together, by the lives we change, the doors we open, the dreams we help take form. The room rises into a standing ovation that rolls over me like an ocean tide. I close my eyes briefly and let the sound wash through me. My therapist calls this post-traumatic growth, the strange peace that follows when you finally stop trying to heal what someone else broke. In the years since cutting ties, I've learned to maintain careful, compassionate distance. Boundaries remain firm, not cruel. Holiday gatherings now orbit around chosen family, the people who earned their place, not those who assumed it. Our dinners are loud and full of laughter. No one leaves anxious. No one performs. Last month, we celebrated Naomi's retirement at the foundation. The event drew every person who had supported me along the way, the mentors, colleagues, and friends who became the scaffolding for the life I rebuilt. We toasted the launch of my newest initiative, the Emergency Fund for students facing financial hardship. The idea had been born from memory, the years I spent scraping by, convinced that talent alone wasn't enough without someone willing to believe in you. The fund ensures that no gifted student has to abandon their dreams over rent or tuition. It's my way of repaying a debt to every version of myself that once felt unseen. Driving home through Portland that night, city lights ripple across the Porsche's polished surface. I pass the coffee shop where I used to sit with a borrowed laptop, editing videos between double shifts. Through the window, I catch a glimpse of two familiar figures stepping out onto the sidewalk, my parents. They look older, smaller, somehow. Their conversation hushed. Our eyes meet for a fraction of a second. They stop walking. I keep driving. There is no anger this time. No ache that claws at my chest. Just acknowledgement. Peaceful. Distant. Almost tender. We have both accepted our roles in each other's stories. They taught me what love isn't. Life and the people I've chosen taught me what it is. When I reach home, Luca waits in the doorway, barefoot, holding 2 mugs of tea. Long day, he asks. Long, I say, smiling. But good. We stand there for a moment, listening to the soft hum of the house we've built together. It's filled with things we love, things we've earned, and people who understand what belonging really means. Tomorrow, Maya begins filming her next project, a documentary about urban youth using art to process loss. I'll be there with her, camera in hand, teaching her techniques I once learned through trial and solitude, how to chase light, how to frame truth, how to make yourself visible when no one else will, because visibility, I've realized, isn't just about being seen. It's about claiming your place in the world without waiting for permission. And as Maya sets up her tripod and adjusts her lens, I'll stand behind her not as a rescuer or authority, but as someone who understands the long road from invisibility to purpose. Family isn't who raises you, it's who lifts you. It's the people who hand you the camera when everyone else tells you to stand aside. It's the ones who applaud when you succeed, not because your success reflects on them, but because it finally reflects on you. And it's the ones who remind you, again and again, that you were never invisible, you were simply waiting to be seen by the right eyes.